Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of this F1 24 Driver Career Mode with myself driving for RB in our second season as a Formula 1 driver. If you did miss the previous episode, Max Verstappen claimed a 65th career victory in Formula 1 by winning the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in quite comfortable style. Lando Norris would cross the line in P2 to claim yet another podium in his very successful career to date, with Oscar Piastri winning the drag race of the line against George Russell to claim a P3, making it a double McLaren podium, and myself in the end crossing the line in a bit of a disappointing P5 considering we were P2 at one stage. Carlos Sainz was the only non-finisher of the Grand Prix. Verstappen currently leads the Drivers' Championship by 7 points to Lando Norris, myself in P5, 15 points behind. McLaren lead the Constructors' Championship by 9 points to Red Bull Racing. We're going to jump straight to the durability here with a minor ICE upgrade. A standard development will bring it in after Australia, but before the Chinese Grand Prix, and rushing it will get it in before Australia with a 25% risk of failure. And we're going to try and rush it. We're going to see what our luck is like and try and get this one in before Australia and see if we can't give us any advantages going into our home Grand Prix. And for the aerodynamics, it's going to be a very similar deal. The minor drag reduction upgrade, same as the ICE, going to rush it since it's only a 25% risk of failure. And we're going to now fast forward, heading it towards our home Grand Prix, the Australian Grand Prix. And we're going to just see if we can get those. Oh, no. No. They've both failed. Oh no. Luckily, I do have just enough upgrade points to be able to repurchase it for the ICE, and we're going to have a look now at the R&D. So Red Bull still fastest car ahead on McLaren. Aston Martin have made progress to close the gap to McLaren, and Ferrari with Mercedes are very close behind in car performance. Sauber have continued to make gains where all the other teams in the Formula B bracket have not brought any upgrades for this race, being ourselves in the RB, Williams, Alpine and Haas all not bringing any upgrades. So let's get into qualifying.
And a warm welcome everybody. We're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
Well, I am looking forward to this session. It is Australia, our home Grand Prix. And what is there not to look forward to when you are about to go and swing it as fast as you can around your home circuit as we come around the final corner to come to the end of our first flying lap here. Brand new set of soft tyres to get us through it, and we'll sit P4 at the moment. I'm not sure if I'm too happy with that, as Max Verstappen does go fastest directly behind us. We go for a second lap on the, sorry, these would be brand new tyres. We did try and go for a second lap, but unfortunately was not able to go fastest. You'll see there we did have a snap of oversteer out of the penultimate corner, and we do slightly go faster, but we're still outside of that drop zone, so we have to get ourselves into P15. Our final flying lap on a set of brand new soft tyres saw us get a purple middle sector, and we will set a very good lap time here to go only P13. That felt like a really good lap, so I'm quite surprised it was only P13 in the end. Max Verstappen will go fastest in Q1 by nearly 2 tenths ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez. That will make it a Red Bull 1-2 in this session. Carlos Sainz P3, 2 tenths behind. Myself in P13, 7 tenths behind. Daniel Ricciardo P15, just making it through to Q2 by under a tenth, and knocked out in Q1. Joe Gasly, Hulkenberg, Sonoda, and Logan Sargent not making it to the next session as we do start this next session. But the issue is with having to do so many runs in the last session, we have got no tyres. We're using rubbered in tyres already. These are already at about 10% as we start our lap. We need to pull out something out of the bag. We have a bit of a mishap there through the far chicane. We're currently setting P15, so we really need to make something work here. It's a purple middle sector as we now come into, oh no, we've gone wide, and that is thrown away about 4 tenths away of time. We've now gone into the red, so now we're going to have to try and pull something out of the hat here in these last two corners, but we get wheel spin out the penultimate corner. We're a little bit wide through the final corner, and I don't think this is going to be enough to get us through. It's, oh no, an absolutely shocking end to the end of that lap, which we'll see a sit P15. So Max Verstappen once again will be fastest in qualifying, 6 tenths out of Bottas in P2. What is going on in this session? Charles Leclerc, he'll sit P3, 7 tenths behind. Ricciardo also makes it into the final part of qualifying here. He's P4, 8 tenths behind. Knocked down qualifying 2. Stroll, S1 Ocon, Carlos Sainz. That's a name that shouldn't be knocked out. Carlos Sainz in a Mercedes Alex Albon, myself in P15, even after messing up that final lap there, if I did mess it up, I don't think I had a second in up my sleeve there to try and get us in. So I reckon I was going to be P15 anyways.
Well, once upon a time, this used to be the season opener before it fell victim to a pandemic reshuffling. But now Albert Park is back at the heart of the F1 calendar, so welcome to sun-kissed Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. So here we are at Albert Park Circuit, 3.28 miles around, with the streets making for a bumpy surface with little undulation. There are 14 corners around the lake, with the best passing opportunities coming at turn 1 and turn 3. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. Edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Bottas, Ricciardo, Stroll, Ocon, Sainz, Albon, Lightning, Joe, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, and Logan Sargent. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. So I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about this afternoon, and who's going to talk about it with us? None other than Naomi Schiff. Hi Naomi. Look, we know it's not where you start, it's where you finish, but let's talk about the start now. What's there to help the drivers get away well?
Well, the race is certainly not won in the first lap, let alone turn 1. However, what you can do is prepare yourself ahead of time. Visualize what could potentially happen, different scenarios and where you could place your car, and that will better prepare you to make the right decision with instinctive timing.
Right, mate, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but I want you to treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks, please.
And we may be starting P15, but points for home race is always going to be the goal. The strategy, though, we will change it just slightly to make the pit lap pit 12, just because it looks like those mediums were going to be a bit too dead by the time our pit window did come, as we now line up on the grid and we await for the 5 red lights to go out, and they are now out for the Australian Grand Prix. We get a little bit of wheel spin there, so it's a pretty even start there. But the Haas here of Zhou Guanyu's had a really good start. We slammed the brakes, have a bit of a lock up there to make sure we don't run up the rear end of Carlos Sainz in that Mercedes AMG, and we now tuck in behind Stroll in P13, so we're up a net 2 places here, and we send it down the inside here into turn 3, where the AI seem to just concertina up a little bit there. So we take advantage of that, but we'll have to finish the move on Carlos Sainz around the outside at turn 4, and that is us now up into P11, so we can try and chase down our teammate who is currently sitting in P10 to try and get ourselves into the point. So an absolute great start for ourselves if we do want to try and get these points here today, as Max Verstappen makes a move to get himself now up into P2, so he's lost a little bit there after them starting towards the front, and he will be trying to get that lead away from Lando Norris. As for ourselves, we're within the DRS of our teammate Daniel Ricciardo, and we've had an engine failure. We've got an engine failure on only lap 3. No. Oh no. We were lining ourselves up. We had the DRS. We were saving up the ERS. We were building it up to be able to make the move on Daniel Ricciardo to get ourselves and start working our way through this top 10. But it's an engine failure. And for this race, I selected the entire car is brand new components as well. So what an absolute waste of whatever has ended up combusting up, exploding. It was an explosion.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
So Max Verstappen did end up winning the Australian Grand Prix, his 66th career victory in Formula One. Norris in P2 ahead of his teammate Oscar Piastri for a McLaren double podium once again. It is great to see our fellow Aussie Oscar up there on the podium for our home race. But on the polar opposite end of luck, very disappointing. Got no words as to what happened to cause such an early engine failure, considering it is only the second race of the season. But we'll take a look at the rest of the top 10. It is George Russell, Fernando Alonso, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, and Alex Albon rounding out the points. Daniel Ricciardo, after starting inside the top 10, unfortunately finishes P12, and myself, along with Zhou Guanyu, are the only non-finishers for this Grand Prix. Verstappen leads the Drivers' Championship by 15 points to Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri sits P3, 20 points behind, and after that DNF, I now drop the P7, 41 points behind, and Daniel Ricciardo, P15. He's yet to score any points so far this season. McLaren, they lead the Constructors' Championship by 8 points to Red Bull. Mercedes sit P3, 39 points behind, and RB, we are P6, 57 points behind McLaren. And we'll take a look at the championship rivalry, and unfortunately in that race, since we did have that DNF, Lewis Hamilton is now leading our championship rivalry, and we need to get the 26 points to win. For our driver ratings, our experience, racecraft, awareness have all taken a hit, but not as much as the focus, which drops down to level 84, and our pace did go up though, with an overall level of 87, as we do head back home before the Chinese Grand Prix. And surprisingly, we do have a secret meeting that we can attend in the next episode. We'll have to find out who is interested in our services, even though we do have a bit of a plan to try and get ourselves into a Red Bull seat in future seasons. Another thing to look into is what happened in that race, which part failed, and what do we need to look into in the durability upgrades for said component to try and make sure that this does not happen again. A lap 3 retirement from an engine failure is just not a nice feeling at all. But anyways, we will end the episode there. I hope you enjoyed it. The next episode will be the Chinese Grand Prix, so I'll see you then.